#perfect. Happy to be sharing this day with all my favorite humans. #blessed. Is this real? #no filter. A perfect day for a perfect wedding. Yep, that's how we roll. Ingrid.
Congratulations. Thanks for inviting me, you
Hi, I wanted to give some thoughts on a film I got to see here in New York City this month called Ingrid Goes West. Ingrid Goes West is the story of Ingrid Thorburn, who is, I guess you could say, an insecure individual who finds a lot of solace in social media and decides to befriend a social media personality named Taylor, who she finds in a magazine. This is a bit of an understatement, but I have a thing for Aubrey Plaza. And this is actually the second advanced screening of a film that she produced and stars in that I've got to see in New York City this summer. So it's been a good summer for me, I guess you could say. I knew when I saw this film's teaser that I was going to want to watch it. And I would actually recommend, if you're interested in all just watching the teaser, don't watch any of the subsequent trailers because I think they give away too much of the plot. Anyway, I think this film has a lot going for it. Perhaps the biggest strength it has is how topical it is. I think it uses a vocabulary and a jargon that only works in post-Instagram world that we live in right now. And I think it kind of has the potential to become a cult classic. I don't know how it's going to do in movie theaters. I hope it does well, which is partly why I'm making this video. But I think even if it doesn't have a successful life in theaters, I think it could really catch on because a lot of the gags and the jokes that are made are things that 10 years ago would have made no sense. And they're very spot on. They're very well researched and they're delivered very well. Aubrey Plaza gives honestly the best performance I've seen this year on film by a mile. I don't think that her performance is, for this type of film, isn't really going to spark a whole lot of buzz, but to be perfectly honest, I think it was nuanced, it was deep, it was vulnerable, it was funny, it was smart. I just really was taken aback by how impressed I was by the skill that she demonstrated in the film, because I was more or less expecting to see her do some of the same of what I've come to expect from her, which is what I wanted. But she actually surpassed my expectations, which was probably a big reason why I loved this film so much. I think O'Shea Jackson Jr. is also a revelation in the part that he plays. He plays Dan Pinto. He has some lines that I think that have the potential to become as quotable as some of the lines in Mean Girls.
Tupac said it'd be days like this.
I would classify this movie as a comedy, but it's definitely dark, and I think it actually has some very serious implications in terms of mental health, and I think it's very important that audiences go into this film knowing that none of these characters are really role models, and that the film is kind of a satire, but also a warning, and I think it's important not to expect how to interact with social media. This is just one example of how it can go horribly wrong. I actually think it's a bit of, even though I laughed very hard throughout the movie, I think it's kind of a tragedy that serves as a warning for the way that we interact with social media. It made me rethink why I use social media, especially why I take pictures of myself, why anyone takes pictures of themselves and decides to share them publicly with the world. I think whether or not that practice in and of itself is moral is a much bigger question, which I don't have time to even begin to discuss. But this movie really made me think about why we do that and what are the implications of that and what are the potential pros and cons of a world where that is the primary means by which we interact with human beings. It was fascinating to hear Matt Spicer, the co-writer and director, elaborate on that idea and really reiterate that this is a satire. It was a funny idea that they had, but also something that really affects their lives.
There were a lot of things that I related to with that character, and I thought it would be a really interesting journey to go on. did you prepare for this role? Because you did a really good crazy eye, I have to say.
Thank you. I just stared at myself in the mirror for hours, and I just thought, I don't know, what's this all about, and who am I? I don't know. It's hard to answer that. I think I did a lot of different things. One thing that Lizzie and I both did was we allowed ourselves to go on Instagram and to kind of, go down those like crazy cyber stalking rabbit holes where you're just a voyeur and you're looking at other people's stuff. And that's something that I don't really do in my personal life, but for preparing for that part, I definitely let myself go there.
It was also really interesting to hear Aubrey Plaza kind of, it seemed to me like she was kind of attempting to rebrand herself. She answered questions legitimately and seriously and wanted to be taken seriously as an actress.
We have a clip here from the movie. What can you tell us to help us with the clip?
This is right before a dinosaur is about to eat me.
This is from a clip from the movie Safety Not Guaranteed.
Yeah, beware.
Probably the most fascinating answer she gave the whole Q&A was when someone asked her to compare the character of Ingrid and the character of April Ludgate in Parks and Recreation. She got a little bit frustrated and she said, the only thing they have in common is me, my body. But I would do anything for a role. I would transform myself. I would cut off my limbs. I want to become different people and be taken seriously as an actor. And I think seeing her not only star in two very different films, playing two very different roles, but produce both of those films, make those opportunities for herself, was probably the highlight of my movie summer.
I'm obsessed. All I know tonight. I'll watch you sleep.
I think it's just like if there's anything the internet loves, it's an opinion, so I think people should, it's just a movie that you should have an opinion about, I think, and you should feel a certain way and share about it on social media. That's what I think.
If you love social media, you're gonna love this movie.
I want to see O'Shea Jackson Jr. ride a Razor scooter.
Aubrey Plaza.
And me.
I highly recommend it. I hope it has a very healthy and long and profitable national release. I hope lots of my friends and acquaintances see it so that it becomes a point of discussion and something I can refer back to, because Tupac said there'd be days like this.
How long are you here for?
Everybody
Anything else I need to know about Ingrid?